is a 2020 Chevy Silverado. We are doing an interlock. You have to do a starter disable. On the passenger side, fuse box next to the battery. You remove this top cover, push these two tabs. Then there are 4 7mm bolts. Loosen that up all the way. That does not come out. You're just gonna loosen it all the way. And you pull straight up. Now these have plugs underneath. I'll show you. I already have it up. As you can see, they are plugs. Green, blue, gray, and black. And they are plugged in. So once you loosen these bolts, you can separate that. So these stays in here. And you pull this gray one out. I'm gonna pull it, I need 2 hands. So I'm gonna pull this out, then I'm gonna continue the video. Okay, here are locking tabs. This one, and that one. You gotta push inward toward to the center, and entire plug pulls up like this. Now you can put it to the side. There is a tape. Press a tape on it. Remove that tape. And the actual starter wire is yellow. There's only one yellow wire right here. So that is the starter wire. I'm going to cut it in half. There are actually 2 yellow wires. This is a heavy gauge wire. Then there's a thinner one right there. I don't think that's the starter wire. So I'm going to interrupt this one. Put the fuse box back in and make sure that is the right one. Okay, I cut the heavy gauge yellow wire. Put this gray plug back in place, and you just simply line up this straight in. Need 2 hands, so I'm going to drop this phone. I'm going to line up this straight down and tighten these 7mm back in. Be sure to tighten it, because if you don't do that, the plug is not going to be fit all the way down where it should be. If you look at this green thing right here, as you tighten it, it pops up, lets you know that you are all the way in. See, this one is not up. That's because I didn't tighten it. So if you look at it, as I tighten it, that little green pin comes up. See that? That's how you know you are tightening all the way up. These green pin has to show up. Otherwise you're not in whatever the socket that line up. Be sure to use a heavy gauge wire. If you use a thin wire, sometimes the car doesn't start from here all the way in, about 7 feet long. The resistance disables the starter wire. So be sure to use a heavy gauge wire. I use the true copper wire. You don't want to use half and half aluminum copper wire. That gets corroded and eventually they break. So be sure to use a copper wire to run all the way inside. This is a DI's website. It shows the ignition accessory and 12V. The main power on the ignition is only 2 amps, so you'd rather use the 30 amp, which is a heavy gauge wire on this BCM right here. This is a direct text website.